And we are live. So thank you everybody for joining the sixth European Council meeting of the European Pirate Party. On behalf of the board of the European Pirates, me myself, Alessandro Ciofini from Italy, from the Pirate Party of Italy. As the organizer, I would say a huge thank you to everybody both on YouTube and here from all Europe. I'm impressed that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 participants. It's really a pleasure in this tough period for everyone to see pirates all together. We met each other in Milan in November. It seems ages ago, where we had such a pleasant moment. I mean, just sharing our thoughts, but also having dinners, having fun, stay together, one together in a single room during the day and even night. And now, unfortunately, we cannot. But this doesn't mean that we are not together. It seems that we are apart, but we are all together here for, um, looking forward for this incredibly movement that is the pirate movement, spread it all over the world and for sure all over Europe, from Iceland to Greece. If nobody opposes, I would just first thing first to see who is present and who is not present to the meeting, and I will just call you one by one, and if nothing happened, it means that you're not present, and if you're present, please just answer that you are. Of course, I am a human and I can make mistakes, so forgive me first, but help me second. Okay? So the list starts with Pirate Party of Austria. Is there anybody from Austria? I guess not. So Pirate Party and any delegation from some other that we didn't notice. Okay, no, the Pirate Party of Austria is not present. We saw a statement that Croatia is not a member anymore. Czech Republic, is there any delegates from Czech Republic? I can see a message. For now, I see that it's not present. The Czech Republic delegate. Estonia, is there the delegate from Pirate Party of Estonia? No, it's not present. Finland, is there here any delegates from Finland? No, it's not present. And what about France? Is there a delegate from France? Yes. And then Germany. Is there any delegates from Germany? Alexander and Gregory. Thank you. And Francois, Etienne and Francois, thank you. And then Greece. Is there any delegates from Greece? I guess no answer from Greece. So Iceland. Is there any delegates from Iceland? Raise your hand or show your face and say a nodal.
Hi, This is not the Icelandic delegate. This is the Icelandic vice chair who sent the Icelandic delegate to watch the YouTube stream because they misunderstand who is to be where. So yes, there is an Icelandic delegate, and I'm sorry, but this is the virtual. It's the virtual equivalent of they're in the bathroom right now. So I'm very sorry. The Icelandic delegate is coming in just 1 second. So please, Alessandro, if you could take the rest of the list, then the Icelandic delegate will answer as soon as they arrive.
Okay, fine. We also have digital version of bathrooms. So Italy then.
Present.
Great. Luxembourg then. Is there any delegate from Luxembourg? It seems not. And now we can just move on to Netherlands. I saw the delegates from Netherlands. Are you there?
Present.
Thank you. And then,
Yes.
Gion, perfect. And then Norway. We have, as far as I know, Linda.
I'm here, but it was in connection, so I don't know.
Okay, but there are William and Raymond, right?
Yes, but I hold the voting rights, so I'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you. Poland, is there anybody from Poland? I saw that Romania is not a member anymore. Slovenia, is there any pirates from Slovenia? Catalonia, is there any
from
Catalonia? Spain, is there any pirates from Spain?
There won't be any delegate from Spain.
Great, thanks, Dario. Sweden, is there more than one delegate from Sweden, I guess? Mab and?
Henrik.
Henrik, and correct me if I misspell some of your names, guys. Switzerland, is there any delegates from Switzerland? Young Pirates of Europe? Young Pirates of Europe? And we need one more row, actually. That is the MEP delegates, right? The MEP has their own delegates here. Is there the delegate from the MEP?
I guess it is supposed to be David. However, for some reason he's not able to connect, so I hope he will be able as a Czech delegate to connect as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. So, as I told you before, I would like to give the chair to the chairperson of this meeting, and as the responsible for the organization, as we talked before, I would like to nominate to vote for chairing this meeting, starting from Mikuláš, and then as Katla to alternate. Yes, of course. Octavia would like to speak. Yes, I have just a lot of So yes, of course.
I just wanted to let you know that the Icelandic delegate has arrived. So if you would like to call the Icelandic delegate, they can respond now.
Sure.
I'm sorry for the misunderstanding.
No worries. So the Icelandic delegate is there. I see it should be the U, right? It seems that you have some Unnar, right? Is that you? You can speak and just unmute yourself and speak. Because you're mute. Unnar, you're mute because everybody joined the room starts with the mic muted.
Yeah, here.
Thank you, Unnar. So the Icelandic delegation is now complete. So let's say that to cast a vote for chairing this meeting, I would prefer to do just a quick vote. Does anybody oppose to let this meeting chaired by Mikuláš and Katla? If somebody opposes, just raise the hand. If it is not, I would leave the word to Mikuláš to start chairing this meeting.
I believe I am supposed to chair in the morning, and Mikuláš will chair in the afternoon. If there's no objections to that.
Okay, fine then. So for the records, Katla is chairing the meeting in the morning and Mikuláš in the afternoon. So Katla, yes. As a chairperson, of course, chair is yours.
Woohoo! Feel the power.
May I interrupt? Alexander would like to speak, raising the hand.
Sorry, I miss you, Alexander. Please. So sorry, Chair. I mute myself.
I just want to start with saying I will not be on camera this morning. I'm sorry if that is uncomfortable for you, but I will keep my eyes on hands up as asking for to speak, and I will keep my eyes on the Jitsi chat for if people want to speak. First and foremost, I will have my eyes on that screen. And hopefully I will catch everybody who are asking to speak. Alexander from... Alexander, can you just take it away? Because you have your hand raised, so you can speak now. Okay. He's not responding, so I'm just going to continue with the plan. I want to ask for approval of the agenda. Mikuláš, go ahead.
If I may, I would like to propose to switch those first 2 points. So I would love to start with report from the board and then continue to presentations of any motions from members and agenda. The reason is behind is because some of the motions are referring to the existing state of the organization. So I think this may be reasonable to start with description of the organization rather than just changing it.
Okay. Raised hand, I think. No? Okay. I see no reason to object to that. But if... Are there any objections to it? Nope. Okay. Then I consider it approved, change to the agenda. Who is taking the notes?
Me for sure.
Okay, Alessandro. So The approved change to the agenda is that we will start with report from the board before we do presentations of any motions from members.
Understood. Updating wiki and the minute.
Thank you. And I consider the agenda approved with that. Okay. Who is going to take care of the report from the board? Mikuláš, then I give the floor to you.
Thank you very much for that, and thank you all for the participation. I will try to be brief and comprehensive. There is the presentation I would like to show you. For convenience, I send it to the Mattermost chat, so you can find it there, and I will try to stream it here on the camera. So I hope you can see it. So that's where we are in the May 2020 as the European Pirate Party. Does it work? Yeah, here we go. So let's start quite like briefly from what is the existing state of the organization. I prepared a small map for you where you can see where are our members. So just for the description, the green color is the countries where we have elected representation, elected parliamentarians. So it's currently Czechia, Germany, Luxembourg, and the Iceland. Yellow color marks the countries that hold a European Pirate Party member, either observer or full member. Most unfortunate are the red countries, which is Croatia and Romania. From all what we do know right now is that we have had members in that countries. Unfortunately, they ceased to exist without even notifying us. So we should probably take note of that and try to reestablish the parties in future again. And the best news are the blue countries, which are Slovakia and Ukraine, who are willing to apply for membership. I think you have all found in the Wikipedia application from the Pirate Party of Slovakia, and we are still waiting for the application of Pirate Party of Ukraine, who is in contact with us, however, has not yet sent the formal application. So I hope it will be better for the end of the meeting. And I think, yeah, we are quite like broad family, still not yet really established and recognized by the other forces. Let's go further. I think that's the part which is all about money. It's unfortunate the money makes the world go around. So just speaking about the current situation, we have totaling in the reserve some 11,630 euros. So you can find the actual amount directly on a web page as the balance sheet is actualized or being actualized by the bank. Some of the members in the past have prepaid their member fees. So those 600s which were paid in this way will probably not be paid in future, because that's the way how prepaid fees works. And we still collect some member fees for 2019, if I'm not mistaken, which is some 2,100 euro that are in due. So calculating the projected annual income concerning the fact that we currently take 300 euro per vote in the council, we should receive some 8,400 each year, which we currently mostly do not spend, and would be great could we like later on approve a budget and start like using this money instead of just collecting them. Then I will slowly go to social media, because this is actually the most important tool we have for like contacting of our voters, because unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, unlike some rich businessmen or multinationals, we do not own any other media. So the social media accounts and our webpage are the only way how we can kind of like provide information to our voters, at least under current circumstances. So I hope you are all aware of this existing European Pirate Party.eu webpage, which we are running. Maybe we will think about like some improvements of the technical stuff. A part of that, there is a Facebook page with some 6,400 fans, Twitter page currently having like 10,900 fans. We started a YouTube channel, which, as I believe you all know, because we are streaming this wonderful meeting to that YouTube channel. Plus, our MEPs are all running some social media, which provides us some additional thousands of followers on that. I think like it's not bad, but it's not also perfect, because like the other parties on the European level are definitely much more visible, and that's our common effort of pirates to really like make it improved. Yay. Let's go further, which I would like to show you some data from the maybe one of the social networks, that's Facebook. I'm describing Facebook because they provide at least some statistics, while Twitter, for example, does not, or they quite restricted that data provided. And as we do not use any like third-party tools because of GDPR concerns currently, these are basically the only data we have about our performance. What you can see is the amount of followers growing since the last council meeting. We we have risen some 12%, which is not bad, definitely. However, it could be much better. There is one artifact I would like to point your attention on. And if you look on the distribution of the followers in the countries, there is Czech Republic, which is kind of like natural, as we have currently 3 MEPs. That is the first one, and is still growing. I think it is maybe a little bit, or should be a little bit of concern, because like we need to use these channels to spread the pirate content across the Europe. So it is quite important to have like diverse approach and to tackle all the countries. So it would be great if you could kind of like participate in that process. I think currently we are growing because we have like more Czech related content and Czech related administrators. But in future, I would really love to have like broader team from more countries to involve like more people from the rest. Maybe I would just like point out this artifact, which you can maybe see here. This quite peak, like sudden increase of followers. This is actually an artifact I created by inviting people to the Facebook, because Facebook has one nice feature that you can provide more visibility to page that you like by like inviting your friends. It effectively works that way. I will show you the page. I hope it will be seen. Is it seen? Yay. So the trick is that there is this nice box in the Facebook page in the desktop version, which name is community. Yeah, and you can click there, invite friends. Hope it happens. Yeah, and there are all your friends. And basically what I did in order to really create this sudden change of our like followers was like just like select all and send invites. I hope would everyone in this room do the same. I think we would like quite increase our performance in what we are doing. So that's the current state of play in what we are doing in the social media. There are some internal systems. Currently, you have probably seen that we have set up this Mattermost instance, which today has some 160 active users, and 70 of them are active on a daily basis. So we are really interconnected the existing pirate parties with this new command channel. I believe you all also realize that there is a new media channel set up by Octavia. So this is the one we are discussing. We are using for discussions of communication effectively. Would be great if you could participate. There are also people coming from PPI and even not people who are not pirates interested in pirate policies to have discussions here. So I hope that this will be in future a hub for further communication between pirate parties and further improvement of our policies. Okay, a part of Mattermost, we have for some time already this ISP config, which is an internal system that provides us easier site hosting, mail server, and stuff like that. So we are quite like capable to provide these things to, let's say, other parties. We use the simple mailing lists that are being used for distribution of our invitations, and the domain GitLab European Pirates.eu was provided to the MEP delegation in the European Parliament to run GitLab, which is also open for European Pirate Party members. So you can use it for share your code or like other stuff that is being used. Regarding the achievements which we have achieved since the last council meeting, we have been requested to deploy or to create this European Citizens Initiative knowledge sharing. So it is finally registered and can be shared. So we are currently working on some nice web page that would spread the information about this ECI and spread it to our members, mainly, of course, via social media. We have the new communication channel, and since the last meeting, we have set up a steady activity on the social media. So we are providing users with content, stay in touch with them, and we are growing. However, there are a lot of things we need to do. So very first important thing for this meeting is approving of the budget, because without the budget, we effectively cannot spend money and cannot do anything. So it would be great if we have at least some after this meeting. We definitely need to strengthen the social media team and make it more diverse, to have people included from the more pirate parties, the better. The ECI initiative has to be finally like presented. There is a direct for election and activation of the Code of Conduct Council, and that means that if you have the chance, please nominate some candidates, because currently we have received no nominations, and that would be really shame. Wouldn't be able to elect because of lack of candidates. There should be some sort of discussion about the formal registration, because the current existence of our association is like we are NGO in Luxembourg, and that's maybe not fully comparable with the other parties who are like full European level European level parties according to law. We are currently discussing the GDPR compliance for the association, because this is something that should be checked, and Octavia is doing a great job on that issue. We were asked by some of the members, especially by Finnish pirates or French pirates, to set up infrastructure for files and pictures, video, and so such a content to be shared among the members. So this is something that the board will take into account and will try to find some better solutions than just do some external proprietary services. And we are working on interconnection of the existing infrastructure of the member parties. Namely, we were provided from Swedish Pirate Party with a tool that can connect the Mattermost with chat instances of the member parties. So this is something we would like to deploy in the upcoming months. Of course, any further development of our OTC infrastructure requires sort of like setup for common authentication authorities, some way how the members of our parties can access the infrastructure, because currently if we want to, let's say, allow a pirate from one side of Europe to use technical systems of pirates from the other side of Europe, there is effectively no way how to certify that person that this is fine and it's not sort of like trolling. So we need to set up some authentication system, which will be of course challenging, but we will definitely we should definitely try it. So those are the most important to-dos, and yeah, I hope I said everything I should say. So would there be a questions? Would there be a question? I'm really happy to answer. Or someone else from the board, of course.
Would anyone else from the board like to add on that very good presentation of Mikolas? I will then just continue on to questions. Is there anyone that would like to comment on what Mikolas was telling us about, or ask questions about it? You are so easy, people. Very good. Okay, then I guess we should just move on with the agenda. Mikolas, next time you have to blow your nose, you should, mute yourself. Just.
I'm really sorry. I put it, and for some reason it does not allow me to mute myself. I want to do so.
Mikolas, I had that issue too, actually. So it's a bit weird.
I'll bear with the blowing of noses, okay? Next thing on the agenda, I'm sorry guys, it's really early in the morning. Like, aren't we all just a little bit, maybe we should do like online stretches and morning workout to get the blood flowing. The next thing on the agenda are presentations of Anymotions for members. So I guess did somebody contact beforehand with motions, or is there anyone with motions that they would like to present? Etienne, I can see your hand raised. I would very much like to hear from you now. Go ahead.
Hi guys. So Pirate Party France would like to present with Pirate Party of Norway and Pirate Party of Catalonia a motion about LGBT plus people rights in Europe. I've sent the final version to the council meeting list last night.
Is there a link to the motion, and would you like to present the motion a bit more?
Yes, Katla, there is a link in our wiki page. In the first agenda page, there is a link for the motion. I can spread it here. Just a second. Here it is the link.
I will post it on the Dawn Square chat in Mattermost.
Can you read it out loud because I can't get into the Mattermost chat. I have no idea what the motion is about, please.
I posted it.
Yes. Etienne, would you like to read it out loud for the people that can't open the link for some reason? Or would you like me to read it?
The version is on the wiki is not the good one because when I sent, I think it's a draft that it is online. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, it's a draft. So I post the final version on Mattermost.
I can't hear whoever's speaking. I can hear Katla, but the other person just breaks up.
Etienne, there seems to be a problem with your mic. Not everybody can hear you. But I guess Octaviasi did post up here in the chat the text of the motion. And it's a draft. Can you guys just give me a second? Okay, great. I just had to read very quickly over it. I guess
Can read it.
Okay, Etienne.
So I will start with the reasoning of this motion, which is a title for a Europe that fights for the rights of LGBT plus people. So on Monday, 19th, the Orban majority into the Hungarian parliament implemented a new legislation that caused transgender people to not be able to change the mention of their sex on official paper by saying that the sex of a person can only be based on the one that is assigned to him at its birth and not its genome. Orban denies the existence of transgender people. On January, some municipalities created 3 LGBT zones, which are areas of Poland which have declared themselves unwelcoming the so-called LGBT ideology and were encouraged to do so by the conservative government of the country to follow this abject path. Once again, a country tried to erase some of its citizens for ideological purpose only. On May 2, EGLA Europe, NGO scrutinized LGBT plus rights states that are a member of the European Council, so that LGBT rights are far from being respected. If none of those countries criminalize LGBT people, many of them do not support minimal legislation on basic rights, like the rights to be recognized under your gender by the administration, the rights to found a family, the rights to have access to proper public health services, and the right to live without the fear to be molested for who you are. So I've put the link to the report and the comparison between countries that was made by ELGA. The restitution of the report of Norway,
Are there any questions about the motion?
I'm back. Sorry, I don't know
Okay.
what happened. I've been disconnected.
Yeah, there seems to be a problem with your mic, but yeah, please do finish, Etienne.
I don't know when it's good, so I'm sorry.
I think maybe the mic is maybe it's just too close to your mouth or something.
So I will read the motion. So
Okay.
quickly. So the motion is regarding the current situation concerning LGBT people's rights, regarding the attachment of the pirate movement to diversity inside our society and the protection of human rights, and regarding the fact that LGBT plus rights always has been a high priority for pirates. We, member of the European Party, states that we will work together to define a common program on the LGBT rights people to be voted at the next council meeting. Will endeavour ourselves to propose in our national program measures to protect LGBT plus people from discrimination and allow them, to lead the same life as all other citizens. We, member of the Pirate Party, call upon Pirate Party member of National Parliament, member of the National Delegation into the Council of Europe, and member of the Pirate Delegation into the European Parliament to support, to introduce, and to defend ambitious policies to protect LGBT plus people's rights.
Fantastic, thank you, Etienne. I guess if people have questions, you can ask them now, but also because the motions will be they are on the agenda in the afternoon and will be voted on then, I guess. So if there are any comments about changing the motion or like the text or something like that, you can work on that throughout the day. Are there any comments right now? Okay, I see one hand here. Alessandro, please do.
Octavio.
Alessandro and then Octavia was first.
Octavio was first.
Yes, Octavia, go ahead. We can't hear you.
But we can see your face, Octa. We can try reading your mouth. Your eyes and your mouth, yeah. One. Come? Come. But you speak Italian. You speak Italian. Don't kid at me, please. Try. You write me and I speak for you. Ma che come? Okay.
No, okay, this is yeah, please put the comment on the chat, Octavia, because we all want to hear it, but there seems to be a problem with your mic.
aside from language, we need an overview. I'm just the translator, Octavia's translator. Is there any reason for having trans and not trans and non-binary for the motion? Is this the question that Octavia posed in the chat for Etienne and for all of us, I think?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
The question is there any reason for having trans but and not trans and non-binary for the motion?
No, it's not that I don't read the question, but it's I don't understand the meaning of the question. Maybe with
sorry.
more details, please.
So Octavia has to explain it.
Might it be okay?
For YouTubers, Octavia said that in the motion you mentioned the rights of trans people. But is there any reason for Octavia is writing? And however, there is a praxis of talking about trans and non-binary people. Thus, I'm asking whether this is on purpose or just, you know,
Right.
transsexual, trans. No, Octavia said no. Octavia got disconnected to try to join the meeting speaking.
Yeah.
I think.
I guess, Etienne, the question would be, Octavia, can you try to speak now? Great. You're online.
Hello? Is it working now?
It is. So please do explain better what you mean with your comment.
Yeah, so as a very, very active member of the queer community, queer society, and as someone who's fought for queer rights for a very long time, I was wondering, because words kind of matter, and it's perfectly fine to have a motion that looks specifically at the rights of trans people. However, in the wording, I was wondering whether it was on purpose to only state trans people and not trans and binary people, because not all non-binaries are trans. However, they are often subject to the same restrictions, the same conditions. So I was wondering, while you were, or as you were working the proposal, whether this was a conversation that came up, or just to kind of get a feel for, and I'm perfectly fine with looking through the text and just maybe helping with some of the wordings.
Etienne, would you like to reply to that?
Yeah, it's not on purpose that I forget non-binary people. I think it's not good, I know, but sometimes we need to squeeze the things to make them maybe a little bit more understandable for people who are not used to queer problematic. So I try to make it simple. I know that it's not perfect, but I'm really open to make this motion better. And if you have some suggestion about the wording, I will be more than happy to include them into the motion. So no, it's not on purpose that I do not speak about non-binary people too.
I think I would like to propose that, or suggest. There are also a comment from Ray from Norway about the wording. So I think it needs to be rewritten. And maybe Ray and Octavia and Etienne would like to look into that throughout the day, so that by the time the motion is on the agenda in the afternoon, it will be better worded. How is that? How does that sound to you?
We can certainly look at the wording. As for the comments that was made in the last 10 minutes, I didn't understand any of them. Trans and all that, I really didn't get the point or the problem. When it comes to how you word LGBT free zone, etc., that was a comment from that I picked up on YouTube from one of the Finnish pirates. That can be looked at. Etienne, would you like to work on this with me and Octavia?
I think then the person on YouTube that's watching on YouTube could maybe send a message to Etienne about the wording as well, since it was that person that made the comment. But to answer you, to tell you though, Ray, that the comments made in the last 10 minutes, they involve that the wording talks about trans people, but it does not include non-binary people. And that is a common problem in many communities. So Octavia was commenting on that and wants non-binary to be included in the wording. Etienne and Octavia, would you be happy to work on the wording of the proposal today? Etienne says on the chat, we're on it, and I say, fantastic. So, but Gregory has his hand up, and Gregory, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Before you come to conclusion, I would just to point out that the motion itself does not use the word trans. It used the word LGBT+, which is inclusive enough for everybody. The reasoning that you're argumenting have some wording issues, have some minor typos, and also Ray pointed out about different stuff, like not LGBT free zone, but free LGBT zone, whatever. It's the reasoning itself is not the part of what is being voted upon. It's not the part of the decision we make. So we vote on the motion, and the motion is perfectly clear. And this is what we publish. Because the reasoning part is just to get us to understand why we're voting for it, but it's not the part of the decision. So I don't feel like there is a need for reworking the motion, to post it on, to put it again on the agenda in the afternoon. I'm fine to vote on it now as it is, because the wording of the motion itself is just fine by us. I don't think it should need improvement.
Thank you, Gregory, for that comment. As chair, I would like to point out that I'm just following the agenda here. It says on the agenda at 4:15, motions from members delegates. And it doesn't say on the agenda that the presentations of the motions right now are up for a vote right now. Also, as chair, I would like to remind people of code of conduct guidelines about how we speak about people and to people. And at the moment, there are people from the LGBTQ community saying that the wording is not inclusive enough. And when people from said community are talking about inclusivity when talked about them, then we listen and we respect their wishes as inclusive and decent people. There's a hand raised. Etienne, please go ahead. Etienne, is your hand raised on accident?
No, you just said what I have to say, so I think that it's pretty clear that the agenda says
So
that
you're saying
the
you want
voting
to...
is this afternoon, and I'm not.
I'm not feeling that you are valuing of what
I
I
think
said.
it's really important.
So you just
I
talking
think that it's
and talking that I am not involved and I have not understood what
reasoning
people
of the
said, and
motion
you clearly
is,
say that I am
as
diminishing somebody. I
important
strictly
as the
protest
motion
that. I'm sorry, but I could
itself,
understand.
because it's reason that leads us to do this motion, and I think it's a big part of the communication after the vote is based on the reasoning. So, on my opinion, of respecting the agenda and respecting the inclusion of this motion, that's the purpose of this motion, is to include a lot of people in it and start a new project. I think it's important that we have a delay between now and the vote. Thank you.
As you are the proposer of the motion, Etienne, I think there's no other way than for us to follow your lead here. Gregory, if you would like to speak during the meeting, I will have to ask you to respect it, that when other people are speaking, because they have raised their hand, that you will not start speaking as well. It really does ruin the whole momentum here. But if you would like to speak now, the floor is yours. Okay, then I think we should move on to the next motion that is proposed by MEP Mikolas Paksa. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your names all wrong, but yeah, sorry. Roadmap to formal registration. Please go ahead, Mikolas.
Okay, thank you very much for the vote.
Mikolas, sorry to interrupt you. I saw that we have not finished yet. I saw two raises hand in the chat. I'm sorry, Mikolas. I just offered to you, Chair, because
Yes,
you didn't see it.
I'm protesting that you are twisting my words in my mouth, and I would like to remind you, please, that too, that strongly object that. I would like to speak now again. I object that you implying that I have twisted, you're completely twisted that what I would you please let me speak then? If you'd ask me to speak, I'm speaking.
Gregory, yes, would you please, yes, Gregory?
Am I on? You said you can speak. I can speak. Why you speak talking? Hello.
Gregory,
is this thing on?
Gregory, you have to calm down a little bit. There's a lot of us here on the meeting.
Is the thing on? Hello.
Yes, we can
Am I
hear
on?
you. We can hear you. Gregory, can you hear us? Can you indicate if you can hear us?
I may be wrong, but there seem to be lagging issues.
Yes, probably.
Well, Gregory, we can see you.
Yes, I'm reconnected.
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Can you just wait a little bit, okay? Because it seems to have been lagging before, and that you did not hear me in time before when I said that you could have the word again. But we have moved on from the motion now, as it is Etienne's motion, and he wants to work on it a bit more. There's nothing more to say about that. I am sorry if you feel that I twisted your words, but I am using the guidelines of the Code of Conduct.
No, you're not.
And you're being
No, you're
aggressive.
misusing the guidelines, and you are trying to cut me off with that by implying that I have not listened to objections of LGBT people and that I would not take them seriously. I'm strongly defending that, and I'm saying that I take the concerns very, very seriously. And I just pointed out that the reasoning where the objections have been voiced against is not part of the decision. And the motion itself does not need reworking. And you twisted it and said that I would not listen to the concern of LGBT people. And I'm strongly opposing that. And I think that you need to apologize to me. Thank you very much.
Gregory, here's the thing. There were people, parts of the LGBTQ community, expressing that they felt not seen in the motion. And you did say that there was no need to make them or to rewrite the motion. And I did say that we need to listen to people that are part of the LGBTQ community. And that's just the way it is. These are the facts. You are being very aggressive at the moment.
No, because you've been aggressive to me. You said that I'm not listening to the concern of LGBT people and we need to listen to that. And I find this very offensive that you state that. Because I did listen and you just turned around what I said. And I said that the concerns are very well addressed because the motion itself uses just the LGBT plus wording and don't use trans or non-binary, and it's very inclusive. And you was not listening to me, but was talking at me using the relation and to make me small. And I am objecting that. Thank you very much.
Okay, Gregory, I apologize for making you feel small. That was not my intention. But I can still tell you that it's not inclusive enough. And you telling us, people that are part of the LGBTQ community, that it is inclusive enough is just not right, because it isn't inclusive enough. So they are going to rework the motion, and it will be brought up again later today. But my intention was not to make you feel small, Gregory. I would very much like you to respect the people on this meeting, though, and stop shouting and stop interfering when other people are speaking, because it is making people feel uncomfortable. And we would like to move on, as Mikolas had started before. I would very much like, though, at the moment, to propose a 5-minute break for people to take a breath or pee or whatever they need to do. Are there any objections to a 5-minute break at the moment? Oh, I'm sorry, Michael Sinclair. I did not notice your hand up until now. So if there's anything that you would like to say that is not about the previous topic, because I really feel like we have to move on from that. Okay, as I hear no objections about a 5-minute break, it is 11:27 right now. We'll round it up to 11:35. A break until 11:35. Please, people, go and take some air.
Okay, so just a question. Should I interrupt the YouTube streaming and then just bring it on later, okay?
Yes, please. That's great, Alessandro. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Over with your presentation, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the word. Now I'm going to bore you to the death with the bureaucracy, but unfortunately it is needed. So, as you probably remember, in 2012 there was a Prague Declaration signed announcing that PPEU shall be established. And it was supposed to be established as a European level party. European level parties are, for those who have not really dig into the issue, legal entities that exist on the European level. They are mostly described by a regulation of the European Parliament and of the Council number 1141/2014. Which is like describing how it works. Generally, the idea is that it is something like sort of like a federation of parties that are like that is comprised of various national parties from the member states of the EU, plus of course the members of outside of the EU can still be present. There are a few of them. You can easily find them on the web page of Authority for European Political Parties and European Political Foundations. Unfortunately, as you see there, Pirate Party is not there because we are registered as an NGO rather than like real party, which is of course a clear disadvantage because every single politologist and other scientist doing research on European politics is heading to this page or like other pages that are derived from to describe what are the respective political families shaping European politics. And like most unfortunately, you see there, for example, European Green Party, but you cannot see there European Pirate Party, which is from the point of view of like our recognition, visibility, really bad thing. Apart of that, of course, there are some other like formal advantages, I would say. For example, the European level political parties do receive some sort of funding from the European Parliament, and of course they can set up a political foundation, which is an entity that is responsible for spreading of respective party ideas or ideology, information to the voters, and of course receives some further party or political foundation funding or state funding from the European Union. Currently, it works that way that just for you to imagine, there is sort of like common bag of money that is being provided by the EU, which is kind of like limited, and then the EU kind of like distributes that between the existing parties with the proportion to the number of MEPs, plus a number of members of local parliaments or regional parliaments. So effectively, it currently works that way, that the money that are attributed to the European Pirate or should be attributed to the European Pirate Party are kind of like being distributed among the others, like Greens or even parties like ID, which are the fascist, like Alternative for Germany or those type of parties. So this is the current state of play, and it would be great would we find a way how to achieve the goal that was expected from the Prague Declaration in 2012 as soon as possible, and to register ourselves as formal European level political party. That has the requirements described in the respective regulation, and the requirements are having a member in one quarter of European Union member states. And the member has to have a representation either in European Parliament or national parliament or regional parliaments or regional assemblies. As you probably remember from my initial presentation, we have currently elected parliamentarians in Czechia, Luxembourg, and Germany. Unfortunately, Iceland is not yet a member of the EU. I hope it will change one day, but till that point, we are kind of like restricted to 3 parliamentary representing countries. What would be, or what is maybe open to discussion, why do we actually so strongly insist on like really do this process only with pirate parties? Because there are definitely some more parties which quite like share similar values to us. However, they do not bear pirate in the name. I was thinking about like whether this would be an, let's say, option how to achieve the goal faster. And what I think is, let's say, a feasible solution to solve the problem without really like changing our identity or changing of our organization too much. Would be, let's say, to open the observer membership to those ideological close parties that are not really pirates by name, but like feel a similar way as us. This is, of course, something I cannot do on my own. Our statutes are quite clear about what the observer membership means. So it would need us to, let's say, change the statutes. And of course, find the partners that are really like close to us. I think there are some options, but definitely this is something which has to be discussed. We need to come out to these partners, find like what are the similarities, maybe what are the differences, and whether we can really like understand ourselves as, let's say, more broader movement than just like this clearly defined as we are currently. So I summarized that in let's say list of things that are good to be reminded, plus list of things that should be done in order to, let's say, find the partners, finish the paperwork, and really become the European level political party. That's what you find in the motion, and yeah, I'm quite open to the discussion because this is really a technical one, and I know that people can have various views on that. I'm fine.
There is a raised hand, Henrik Passmark. Anyone else? No, Henrik, please. You can have the word, but as I said in the comments or in the chat, we are a little behind schedule. So I ask people to try to be precise in their presentations and questions, just so we can be a little better on time. Thank you, Henrik. You go ahead.
All right. I just have a question for Mikuláš. if you have at present any tentative idea on examples of ideologically close parties that could be considered should this change take effect. Thank you.
Yes, it's asked and answered. So Mikolas will answer, and then Marco will have his question, and so forth.
Well, the time schedule has to work followingly. We need, if I'm not mistaken, to present every statute change motion at least 1 month in before the meeting, which means that we will have to present a statute change in before the November that will kind of like allow to those parties to be incorporated. If you are asking me who would be the, let's say, possible partner for this discussion, I think there are quite some parties we got contact in over the time who would like to maybe speak here in this meeting as guests. It should be during the afternoon. And of course, admission of any members we will do in a few minutes later is conditioned by the approval of the council. So whatever member comes and wants to become a member of European, or whatever applicant comes and wants to become an applicant for the European Pirate Party, membership has to be approved by council. So the final decision making stays in this body, and will do so even in future, because the observer members has no the observer member has no voting rights in the council. So it still cannot change the majority within the council from the existing pirate parties as it is proposed. But maybe to be more detailed on the question, I think it is reasonable, at least for me as an MEP, to have clear guidelines from the council that I'm entitled to say to my MEP colleagues in Brussels, which from time to time, of course, I meet, that pirates are seeking for partners that are close to them, and we are not like restricted to just this particular name when we are talking with partners.
Okay, thank you, Mikolas. Are you happy with that answer, Henrik? Just give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, whatever. No? Well, Marco has his hand up, so Marco, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Marco from the Pirate Party of Italy. Actually, I understand perfectly the reasoning behind the motion, but I would like to understand, since in any case the sort of first building block for reaching the target is to actually have a change in the treaty, maybe I would say by adding a point D to the current requirements for observer members, something similar. Wouldn't it be better to start with that, like to sort of propose the roadmap at the same time with the status change in the next council meeting? And this was one question. And the second one is more as you as a member of the European Parliament who is a sort of building network. Do you think that these other parties that could be sort of close to us in terms of ideology and in terms of program would accept to be part of the European Pirate Party as observer member? So without sort of a full power on what they can do. Thank you.
You can answer that question, Mikolas.
Yep. Speaking about the first part about the roadmap, let's take it more broadly. I think those other parties who are, let's say, a smaller one and close to us face actually quite similar problem as us. They are not being recognized on the European level, which kind of like complicates their visibility, plus complicates the access to state funding. So for them, it is natural to seek a partner. I cannot tell you whether this or their particular party will prefer to cooperate with pirates, and what exactly will be those requests from that party. I can imagine that would there be a discussion about, let's say, state funding, we will have to find a way how to share the common resources in the way that all the partners are profiting. However, there are definitely some other options which I would like to leave open for, let's say, other maybe non-pirate parties. For example, we could use sort of like sharing of information about like new members. For example, would there be I don't know, party from Ireland, and we would like to, and we would have let's say a person, like a natural person, interested in membership in some party in Ireland because it's of Irish origin. There is currently no one we can say, hey, go there and apply for this party membership, because there is no existing pirate party, as far as I know. So maybe it would be interesting for those non-pirate parties to, let's say, have this kind of like source of new people interested in politics as potential activists. And I don't know, and this is sort of like trade-off that could be interested for them. But like, I'm quite open to have a discussion on that topic, because at the end, like, it's better than to stay and look on Ireland and see, yeah, it would be nice if there would be some allies for us, but there are no. So I would like to have such a discussion, but it's definitely also on the side of our partners what they would want. But we really need to first open the discussion before we really learn their needs.
Marco, are you satisfied with that answer?
There is actually, yeah, for the second part of the question, yes. For the first part, that was more technical. Like, since we, in any case, need to have the status change, wouldn't it be better to sort of go public with this proposal after we have a statutes ready? Because otherwise, if we vote yes and the board starts to sort of, how can I say, doing a membership campaign, let's say, and then at the next council meeting, the status changes do not pass, that would be sort of not really a good PR move, in my opinion.
Would you like to comment on that? Yeah.
Yeah. That's something which you are absolutely right. And at this point, it would be quite like reasonable. Would you or your pirate party consider refusing such a change of status, to vote against this motion right now, so we avoid such a situation? This motion is sort of like probe to a future positions within the council in November. So it's quite fine to declare your position already now. Why I would like to have this discussion about the statute changes already now was because I think it is reasonable to have, when we are opening the statutes, to have the opportunity for, let's say, our partners to express some of their, let's say, needs. Maybe we will find a partner which will have sort of like a condition for statute change that is absolutely necessary for such a partner to participate. And then I think it is reasonable to, let's say, provide a package. Yeah, there will be like, I can imagine a situation, there will be like 3 pirate parties represented in the parliaments, 3 parties which are non-pirates willing to join under current condition, and just 1 party needing something which is really, really specific for them, which we could possibly accept, but this will be a deal breaker for approving the process of formal ratification. And at that point, I think it is reasonable to have discussion about this condition because it's yes or no situation. Of course, you can still refuse, but there is a trade-off, and the trade-off is like, for example, the state funding is being based on, let's say, annual base. So every year in September, you either have or you have not the political party. So it is reasonable to have this choice. Do we want to register it in 2020 for respective, let's say, political compromises or not? And that's something I would like to leave open for now.
So
Okay,
basically,
Marco.
this. Yeah, it was like so basically, this motion right now is a sort of poll between members to see if we are ready to take that direction.
Absolutely, it's a poll because we really need more time to have this discussion through because it's a big change, but it would be good to declare we want to be part of or we want to go this direction or not before we go further.
Sadly, we do not have the time or the space for a much longer conversation on this, even though it would be fun. There's one last comment by Map from Sweden, and then after that, we will continue on with the agenda. Map, go ahead.
Thank you. I think everyone who remembers the process when we built up the European Pirates between 2012-2014 will agree that the aim was always to be a European political party and to reach the threshold. At that time, we thought that shortly after the 2014 elections, we would easily reach that threshold with the Pirates parties we had. And we didn't foresee a situation where we were sort of stuck halfway there, which has been the case since. But with the information we have now, I think it's clearly the right way to go. From the Swedish Pirate Party perspective, we would support this motion entirely so that we can reach the threshold for being recognized as a European political party. And the balance is built into the proposal to keep the non-pirate members as observers, which will keep the core pirate identity in the political party, but allow us to reach the threshold. So I think this is a very good motion, and I think we should support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Map.
Okay, then to move on, there is one last motion. I would very much like to get us back on the time schedule. What is left before lunch break is that one last motion that should not take any time at all. There's budgets and there's new members admission. So let's finish the last motion and then see about the time, because I will probably try to minimize the time for, it will be less time to talk about new members admissions and budget 2020. But the last motion would be update on council membership proposed by the board. But Mikolas, will you present? Thank you.
Yeah, I will do. I will try to be fast. Well, it's most unfortunate. However, we have recognized already during the last meeting, Pirate Party of Croatia seems not to be existing. Meanwhile, we've received information that Pirate Party of Romania also kind of like changed their name and started a different political project. So it seems to us that we are without political representation in those two countries, and as the board probably should not by its decision change the membership base, I think it is up to council to acknowledge the situation and to say, yeah, the numbers within the councils so are changed and we can formally like delete those parties from our records. So that's it. It's just, let's say, administrative acknowledgement of the situation.
And I believe there's no questions about that. This is just according to the statutes of the association and will be voted on later in the day when motions are on the agenda to be voted on. The next thing would be the budget 2020, but you talked a little bit about that before, Mikolas. So do you think you can talk about the budget in, say, 20 minutes rather than 30? Am I asking for too
I
much?
can do, but I would consider this to be an obligation from of treasurer. So I would like to leave that obligation to Alessandro.
Alessandro, I see you have your hand raised. You should be talking about the budget. I am going to ask you to try to be very precise and leave some time for questions. But you know, I know you're Italian, so I'm not trying to restrict you or anything. I care about your culture. Go ahead.
Thank you, but I mean, it's also a pleasure for me to not bother you. You know, so I would like to keep it very strictly. I need only 5 minutes to present it, and even less probably to discuss it. Here it is the point. First of all, I have to apologize because probably there was a lack of communication, and I do apologize to all those parties that didn't receive the invoice properly, didn't receive it all, receiving it the last very moment. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for your patience, because the situation was a bit weird, let me say. We had a decision in last council member in Iceland to just move the previous unpaid fees, membership fees, to drop it out because no one received any invoices and no decision were made any after, and then just to save those money collected by some political party, some private parties before 2018, as you know, a prepaid membership. So I was in the situation where something already prepaid, something didn't, something wasn't able to be in touch with the previous treasurer. So the situation right now is very, I mean, at least is clear. I have a map, and I just show you in the pad. The pad is very simple. I will just read one by one the situation. The situation means that right now, I'm talking about 2019, because we don't have actually set up the fee for this current year. And this is what I also would like to propose you, because I cannot, I mean, I know that no, treasurers are not a real person in many parties. So they don't have, some private parties don't have any treasurer. So it will be impossible for me to have just a meeting with all treasurers to set up the issue about the membership fees. So I would ask this council to make a decision today to set up the new fees for 2020. It would be very grateful for everybody, I think. But the situation is right now is that Austria paid the 2019 fees. Czech Republic did, Estonia didn't, Finland did, France did, Germany did, Greece didn't, Iceland did, Italy did, Luxembourg didn't, Netherlands did, Norway did, Poland didn't, Slovenia didn't, Catalonia did, Spain didn't, Sweden did, Switzerland did. This is the actual situation. And all parties except Sweden has no more prepaid fees, while Sweden has right now 600 euro of prepaid fees. That doesn't mean, I cannot say 2 years or even 10 years. It depends on the next fees. Okay, so only Sweden has a balance, a credit within the Pirate Party, the European Pirate Party of 600 euro. All the rest is done. Okay, that means that we have the situation that you can see on the wiki. The situation is very clear. We have an available balance of over than 1,000 euro, and an account balance of over than 13 euro. The difference is just between a couple of 2,000 money are on the way. I have receipts, but they are not still on the FIO bank account. You will see them because our FIO bank account is a transparent account next week. And you see that the still due 2019 fees are almost 2,000 euro. And we based on this on this budget that we have right now, we proposed to the board, and in the afternoon probably we can vote on it. The following 2020 expensive. We just proposed to save 2,000 and a half euro for IT resources, 2,000 euro for communications, 2,000 for all the administrative staff, and 1,000 for the reactive server, for a global amount of 7,000 euro. Let me just spend a word about administrative staff. The administrative staff should be something like, for instance, I went to Prague last February when borders were still open, just to take charge, to take care of the FIO bank account and to put my sign on it, to just can operate on it. And we experienced that actually with Mikuláš. We had a lot of trouble, for instance, first with translation of statuses and on whatever. We just put there just 500 euro for all the thing like this. Pay some notary to have translation and to have some, all the things like this. And then we would like to contribute with 1,000 and enough euro. For the organization of the next board meeting. Unfortunately, this one is just an online meeting, so actually it was almost costless, but the next one in November hopefully will be a real meeting. So we would like to just give some money to the to the host, to co-hosting, the real meeting. That's the budget proposal for 2020. There is also one important thing that I would like to point your attention. The attention is that now we are in the position that if this process go ahead, in the process of any recognized political party at the European level, this budget, the budget we are now depends only by fees. Will be totally, fees will be totally irrelevant. That's why I will suggest for 2020, because we actually, even we don't grab a lot of money right now. It would be much more interesting to have just a small amount for 2020 fee, to just give us back some political party that, for instance, like Austria, the treasurer of Austria Pirate Party answered me back that 300 euro for them are a lot of money. Probably also Poland is in this situation. So probably just lowering the fee just to, I don't know, 50 euro or even 100 euro for the single membership fee would be a kind of fresh air for those parties that are just too little to afford something different. Of course, I can maybe I can show you, but it's useless because actually the budget is on the wiki, so you can see it by yourself. And basically that's it. I do only ask you a favor as international delegates to please let me know how you want to be in touch with this, because actually in the statutes it should be all the treasurers, but at some time this was impossible. For instance, I had no answer from Greece, I had no answer from Spain, I had no answer from Slovenia, and I had no answer also from Poland, and Estonia also. So I didn't know how to consider this no answer. I try to. I think that we should be very clear of at least which active member we can count on or not. That's it. I'm all yours if you have any questions.
Thank you, Alessandro. I will now take a look around. If there are any questions, please raise your hand or make a comment in the chat. If there's any lagging, I will now wait a little bit to make sure that everybody has heard me.
I saw that Mikuláš would like to speak.
I've decided Mikuláš has finished his minutes for the day. No, I'm kidding. Okay, there you go, Mikuláš. You can ask a question.
It will be short. I will have just one comment. Maybe it's from a certain point of view. It can sound weird. Why to care about party, which is maybe just the 5 members? There is quite good reasons for care even for small parties. Such a small party is based for networking in the country, because if there is no partner at all in the country, we are just screwed. We have no one to talk with. But if there is one, we can send our volunteers, interested people who are from that country, to go to this base and expand from there. So I think it's very much important to support the small parties and to be open to their requests in terms of membership fees.
No need to comment on that, Alessandro, is there? Okay.
No, it's fine for me. I saw in the chat that, for instance, Dario just wrote that the Pirate Party of Spain is dead. So these are important information for us. How should I represent the Polish Pirate Party? Or, for instance, the Estonian Pirate Party, because the Estonian were in Milan, but then nobody answered. Or Greek Pirate Party. I had no answer. I have an automatic answer for from the email account, but nothing else. So this is very important. We should find a way to ping at least all our members, and then at least have some contacts. I just showing you my results of this. That's it.
That's great. This is great. We are almost on track to finish in time, or like according to the agenda. We have 40 minutes until the agenda says lunch break. If we, if we go earlier to lunch break, that's just nice. I think we could all use a little walk or something. It's not healthy to sit in front of a computer for so long. Anyways, new members admissions. That's the next thing. Is there anyone that wants to present? Who is going to present? Nicolas? No? Okay.
If I may, I think the new members shall present themselves.
Okay.
However, I'm trying to wake up all the Slovaks because for some reason their coordinator did not join. And meanwhile, I think it's open for Pirate Party of Brandenburg, who is willing to apply for observer membership.
Who is the delegate from Brandenburg?
I guess Bastian
Is it Bastian?
should be responsible.
Okay, where's Bastian? There you are, Bastian. Are you?
Yes, I am. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning. You have the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brandenburg says hello to everybody on the meeting, listening to the meeting, and made a presentation of themselves, so you can find it in the wiki very well. You know us very well. You know the Brandenburg party very well, I think, because I'm representing the Brandenburg party now, and I visited a lot of time in the private meetings. So if you have a question, just ask me now or never.
You heard the man, now or never. Are there any questions about the observer membership that the Pirate Party of Brandenburg is applying for?
So thank you.
Actually, I have a question.
Who was that?
It was the treasurer.
Hello, treasurer. Please make your question.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, the question was not specifically to Bastian, but I take the hint from him because as I saw, it's very, in my opinion, it's always a great idea when there are more members, observer members. Statement, but I mean full member. The thing I have to, because it's a question, because probably I don't know the things very well, so I ask to you all, and especially to those who were in the Pirate Party of Europe, especially those who make the statutes from the very beginning. I didn't understand how can happen. I mean, imagine that we have now, because we are Europe is an ongoing process. We have countries, right? We have Italy, France, Germany, Spain. Then we have members that are, for instance, part of a country like Catalonia, right? And now Bastian is applying for a part of Germany, right? And means that, for instance, we could have if I'm not wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong, at least 10 members in the European Parent Party from Italy. I can just apply, ask to apply for, I don't know, Pirate Party of Tuscany or Pirate Party of Milan. I would say so. Is that really possible? And how this, I mean, can integrate into the process regarding, you know, I mean, is that possible? Is my first question, and then if the second question is this on purpose, and for what purpose? Maybe it's if it's a long question, I apologize, and thank you.
Bastian, did you copy that?
Yes. I have to be very, very, very calm about. Yeah. I don't think that Alessandro wants to offend me or our organization, Brandenburg, but I think there is a easy answer. We founded the PPU to make a strong movement of pilots in Europe. Every single party, maybe every single human who support this movement should be very welcome to the PPU to help that the movement will growing up. Any ideas that this is kind of abuse? I would not hear that anymore in this party. Thank you.
Yes. I don't know if I should address this. Oliver, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a short one on this. Hello, everybody. As we talking about observer members, and as we already accepted Bavarian Pirate Party, for example, or Pirate Party of Potsdam as observer member, I don't think there's any conflict to accept also Brandenburg. If we would deny Brandenburg but accept it to Bavaria, would be very strange.
Is there anyone else that would like the floor? I see Mikolas, you have your hand raised. I see Marco has his hand raised. Mikolas, you can go ahead.
Oh, just a comment that we are talking about observer membership, which effectively, following our statutes, means mainly like participate in the discussion in the council. It's no voting right at all. So effectively, it does not change the balance of power within the council. And I think this is something which will probably be preserved in our statutes in future, at least following the previous discussions. And it definitely has some change, has some reasons, because there are countries in Europe which are quite centralized. For example, my country is quite centralized, and I can't hardly imagine there will be any pirate party of Moravia, for example, because this is not really realistic. On the other hand, there are countries like Germany, for example, who are really like federal states with strong local identities, and in that case, I think it is reasonable to adopt the regionalism, which is kind of like natural for that areas.
Thank you for that, Mikuláš. Marco, you can go ahead now.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to, since sort of I know where this reasoning of Alessandro comes from. The fact is that you cited things like Pirate Party of Tuscany. The difference is that there is no Pirate Party of Tuscany. It's just a group of pirates within the Italian Pirate Party. But something like the Pirate Party of Brandenburg is a juridical person. I don't know if there is this is a sort of Italian concept, but I don't know how to translate it in English. But basically, it has a juridical judicial personality. So it's a sort of an organization that, yes, depends on a higher organization, but still it has its own judicial personality. So in some countries, like in Spain, the Pirate Party of Catalonia represents an autonomous region that still has its own parliament. So I think that the situation can be quite different between countries. In Italy, probably the only region that could do that is the Bosen region, where there is a strong German-speaking minority. So I think that the fact is that the situation is different across countries. So even if we have some, in some cases, like in Germany, pirate parties that are sort of local branches, they are not really local branches because, as Mikuláš said, that is a federated country. So I think that we should take this into account. And yeah, I don't see anything strange. So with the request of joining the PPU.
Thank you for that, Marco. Bastian also makes a comment in the chat and thanks Marco for his comments. There are comments in the chat from Michael Sinclair and from Etienne. I'm just wondering, would you like the floor, Michael? No? Okay. Well, just for the YouTube channel, Observerstat, Michael says Observerstat is okay, but for a state that has no pirate in state parliament, there cannot be full membership. Etienne says, I'm more concerned about the fact that we do not see a lot the two others German federated pirate parties, Bavaria, and I forget the name of the other, he says. What is the point to ask membership if no one show up after? I don't know. Would you like to answer this, Bastian?
Not really, because
No,
everything
okay.
is said about this case, and if we can discuss it very, very intensively within the meeting later on, and then we maybe we take it an hour or more, and we can discuss the Brandenburg wish to be a member of this wonderful movement, and then we can discuss it until tomorrow. I think you will make the right decision. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bastian. Is there any word of the Slovenian, Slovakia, I'm so sorry, Slovakian delegates, is there any word from them? I don't see how we can continue with the admissions right now if there is no delegates from Slovakia. So I guess we just have to propose a change to the agenda to let Slovakia make their application in the afternoon. Mikuláš, please, you can go ahead.
I contacted our head of administration and she told me that their international coordinator is heading to join. However, he's probably having some technical problems. That's the situation.
Okay. So we could do just an early lunch and wait with the voting of the memberships both for Brandenburg and Slovakia until in the afternoon. Are there any objections to that? Okay, so for the minutes and for YouTube, my suggestion is, well, it's now 12:30, is it? Nice. So my suggestion is that we take an early lunch and we make it maybe a little bit longer, maybe just 10 or 15 minutes longer. And we will reconvene at 11, I don't know, 1. Oh, Jesus Christ. Give me a second. So my suggestion is that we come back at 1:15 rather than 1:30, and we will deal with all voting in the afternoon, the voting of the budget, the voting of the new members' admission, and the motions, and the board member election. We also do have on the agenda Code of Conduct Council election, but there have been no nominations for the Code of Conduct Council. I guess we will have to speak about that in the afternoon then. Are there any objections to this suggestion?
Can we do 1:30?
I wouldn't mind it, but I am a little bit worried that we won't have enough time in the afternoon if we... I mean, I'll put it out there. Reconvening at 1:30. Any objections? There are no objections to that, so I will yeah. So, lunch break. I thank you very much for your patience with me as chair. I know I'm not very conventional and sometimes a bit odd, but you know, a little bit of joy in life is what we all need. Yes? I'll see you guys afternoon. Thank you. Bye.